Welcome to Science and Technology Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: Hollywood writers head back to work. More than 100 dolphins dead in Amazon as water hits 102 degrees Fahrenheit. How Malaysia, China can deepen ties amid South China Sea tensions. Robert Fico wins Slovakia election with anti-Ukraine stance. US shutdown, India cash crunch postponed. Sunday Asia briefing. Hollywood writers head back to work. The Guardian. The Writers Guild of America, WGA, has agreed to end a 5-month strike after securing improved minimum pay, increased streaming residuals and protections against the use of artificial intelligence, AI. As we noted last week, the Screen Actors Guild, SAG, are also expected to reach a deal soon, which means Hollywood's wheels are about to start spinning again just in time to save the winter half of the TV season. However, despite the agreement, the hard-won compromise is not expected to fix everything. Questions remain about the post-pandemic box office, a pullback from content saturation, and what effect AI or the next disruptive technology will have in the coming years. More than 100 dolphins dead in Amazon as water hits 102 degrees Fahrenheit. CNN. Over 100 dolphins have been found dead in the Brazilian Amazon due to an historic drought and record-high water temperatures. The Mamorau Institute, a research facility funded by the Brazilian Ministry of Science, believes that the high number of deaths is unusual and may be connected to the drought and high temperatures in Lake Tef, where some places have exceeded 102 degrees Fahrenheit. The Amazon River is currently in the dry season, and other river fauna are also suffering from the extreme temperatures. Researchers and activists are trying to rescue surviving dolphins by transferring them to cooler waters, but this is proving difficult due to the remote location of the area. The drought is also impacting the economy, with below-average water levels impeding transport and fishing activities. How Malaysia, China can deepen ties amid South China Sea tensions. South China Morning Post. China and Malaysia should look beyond trade and investment to strengthen their relationship, according to Brian Y.S. Wong, assistant professor in philosophy at the University of Hong Kong, and Syed Nizamuddin bin Syed Qasim, assistant secretary at the Malaysian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They suggest Malaysia's technology ecosystem could provide an alternative manufacturing hub for Chinese companies looking to avoid trade curbs, while both countries should bolster technological cooperation in sectors including advanced manufacturing, cloud computing and health technology. They also suggest China's growing middle class would benefit from greater innovation in both countries. Robert Fico wins Slovakia election with anti-Ukraine stance. Financial Times. Former Prime Minister Robert Fico and his Smer party won the recent elections in Slovakia, putting him on track to try to form a new coalition government. Fico has been critical of Ukraine and has opposed sanctions against Russia, which could undermine Western efforts to support Ukraine in its conflict with Russia. Fico's return to power has raised concerns in Washington and Brussels, as it would bring another anti-Ukraine voice into the EU alongside Hungary's Viktor Orbán. Fico, who is entangled in corruption cases, will now have the opportunity to form a ruling coalition, although the fragmentation of Slovakia's parties may make it difficult for him to find enough allies. US shutdown, India cash crunch postponed. Sunday Asia briefing. Bloomberg. Asia's markets are expected to be quiet at the start of the week as China, Hong Kong, India, and South Korea are all closed for the mid-autumn holiday. However, the US government will remain open after narrowly averting a shutdown by passing legislation to keep federal agencies running until November 17. In India, the central bank has given citizens an additional week to exchange or deposit the country's highest value banknotes. The Nobel Prizes will also be awarded this week, with one award each day. Bond markets are experiencing a sell-off as yields increase, and the palm oil industry is facing a crisis as trees produce less fruit and farmers struggle to replant. Apple is fixing a bug in its new iPhone that causes the device to overheat. Other notable events this week include rate decisions from central banks in Australia, New Zealand, India, and Sri Lanka, the start of the Cricket World Cup in India, and the Ryder Cup in golf. Thailand sees $4 billion from China tourism after visa waivers. Bloomberg. Thailand is hoping to attract 2.9 million Chinese tourists and generate billions of dollars in revenue through a new visa exemption program. The program, which temporarily waives visas for mainland visitors, has already seen a strong response, with over 22,000 Chinese travelers entering Thailand in the first 2 days. The visa waiver is expected to accelerate the return of Chinese tourists, who were the largest group of visitors to Thailand before the pandemic. The Thai government hopes that this program, along with other measures, will help strengthen the nation's economic recovery and prevent a recession. Fowler Nicolosi, Horton lead Colorado State over Utah Tech 41-20. Associated Press. Colorado State defeated FCS member Utah Tech with a score of 41-20 on Saturday night. Freshman Braden Fowler Nicolosi threw for 462 yards and 4 touchdowns, 3 of which were caught by Tory Horton. Fowler Nicolosi and Horton connected for a touchdown on the Rams' first possession and again for a 76-yard score following an interception. Utah Tech closed the gap to 21-17 at halftime with 2 touchdown passes from Kobe Tracy to Bo Sparks. The game was sealed in the fourth quarter with 2 more touchdown passes from Fowler Nicolosi. Fowler Nicolosi completed 26 of 32 passes with 2 interceptions, while Horton had 10 catches for 227 yards. Georgia's reluctance to move against Russian agent tests its allegiance to West. Financial Times. Georgia's refusal to freeze the assets of a former official accused by the U.S. of being a Russian agent is testing Tbilisi's ties with the West. The U.S. State Department earlier this month added Otar Partskaladze to its sanctions list, citing help he had allegedly received from Russia's FSB security service in becoming a Russian citizen. After initially backing the asset freeze, Georgia's central bank changed its compliance rules, effectively shielding Partskaladze. The move led to 3 senior bankers resigning and a domestic debate on why the ruling Georgian Dream Party was seemingly prepared to protect figures linked to its founding oligarch. Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the 6 Degrees world. I am Dr. Six, your trusted observer of all things happening in our interconnected universe. Today, I bring you a mix of news from around the globe. Let's dive in and see what's been happening. In Hollywood, the Writers Guild of America has ended its 5-month strike and secured better pay, increased streaming residuals, and protection against the use of AI. This is great news for the entertainment industry, but questions still linger about the post-pandemic box office and the future impact of disruptive technologies. Over in the Brazilian Amazon, more than 100 dolphins have tragically died due to a historic drought and record-high water temperatures. Researchers and activists are working hard to save the surviving dolphins, but the remote location of the area poses challenges. The drought is also affecting the local economy, hindering transport and fishing activities. Meanwhile, China and Malaysia are being urged to deepen their ties beyond trade and investment. The suggestion is to focus on Malaysia's technology ecosystem as an alternative manufacturing hub for Chinese companies and to strengthen technological cooperation in various sectors. Additionally, it is believed that China's growing middle class would benefit from greater innovation in both countries. In Slovakia, former Prime Minister Robert Fico and his party have won the recent elections, putting him on track to form a new coalition government. Fico's stance on Ukraine and opposition to sanctions against Russia have raised concerns among Western powers. It remains to be seen how this will impact EU efforts to support Ukraine. Moving to Asia, the US government narrowly avoided a shutdown, and India's cash crunch has been postponed for an additional week. The Nobel Prizes will also be awarded this week, and various central banks will announce their rate decisions. Additionally, Thailand is hoping to boost its tourism industry by attracting Chinese visitors through a visa exemption program. In sports news, Colorado State emerged victorious over Utah Tech in a football game, with standout performances from freshman Braden Fowler Nicolosi and Tory Horton. And in Georgia, the country's reluctance to freeze the assets of a former official accused of being a Russian agent is straining its allegiance to the West. That's all the news for today, folks. Remember, the world is full of surprises and stories waiting to be discovered. Stay curious, stay connected, and as always, keep exploring the 6 degrees of our universe. And now, I turn to you, my wonderful audience. What are your thoughts on these news stories? Do you have any burning questions or interesting perspectives to share? Let's dive into a lively discussion together. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.